Ah, Mr. Rousseau, I am so glad that you could join me on this trip to America. You know, of course, how I have said that once all the world was like America, an open frontier where hard-working men and women would convert open land into productive farms and so create this thing we call property. The pioneers were my model for the state of nature, since they had no need of government except to settle those disputes that might occur. When that need arose, they entered into an agreement by which they surrendered only that much of their natural right to use force in order to protect what belongs to them, and that, my friend, is the only reason still for a government.
Mr. Locke, since we are here, may I call your attention to a most important fact. Your pioneers did not happen upon unoccupied lands. The noble savages who preceded them and were violently displaced had the true vision of what life should be. They did not make the European mistake of saying that a person somehow had a right to land that once was open for everyone. What you call property was the first great mistake mankind made, and it has been the source of all our troubles since.
Well, I can understand that your experience of absolute monarchy in France has made you look upon American Indians so favorably, but you must also recognize that they have not learned how to settle down and make full use of the land as have good Englishmen. Property, I repeat, is a most basic right along with life and liberty, and my theory of government is one in which power is so divided that the law will work for the benefit of all and not just a privileged few. We cannot turn back the clock and all run about in buckskins with none of the benefits of true civilization.
I agree that we cannot return to the past, but my idea of a social contract is meant to eliminate the type of selfishness that you seem to encourage. What we must come to see is that in order to have peace and justice, all of us must agree to surrender everything we would have held as our own in a state of nature, even our lives. In return, we will establish a democratic society in which everyone is allowed to live peaceably while sharing the goods of this world as equals. When decisions are to be made, we are all to vote our true feelings without the corrupting influence of churches or political parties. In this way, what I call the general will allow a new era of peace and prosperity.
Mr. Rousseau, you are far more naive about human nature than I had imagined. Do you really think that, even if you were to have a revolution that ends the rule of a king in France, those men and women sweeping into power would not act for their own interests? No, it is not property that makes us monsters but power itself. We must have a limited government that respects the rights of individuals.
No, I cannot agree. I have far more confidence in human nature than you do. All we need to do is eliminate the one thing that makes us behave so badly, and that is this idea of private property. You say, for example, that someone who has created wealth through his own effort also has the right to pass this on to his descendants, who may never have worked a day in their lives. This, after all, is what has led to the social divisions we have in France today.
I do see your point, but I respectfully disagree. You will have solved nothing by pretending everyone is equal and will benefit equally when there is that possibility of some claiming to act in the name of the people and so be entitled to more than their fair share. Power is the problem, and my theory addresses it satisfactorily.
No, the problem is property. I am sorry you cannot see that, and I can only hope that the descendants of your pioneers will not attempt to form a government concerned just with its protection.
And I hope that this is just what they do. Indeed, I feel sorry for those who will look at your theory and attempt to create a world in which individual effort means nothing. Goodbye, Mr. Rousseau. I will return to England, and perhaps you will find a nice teepee here in the wilderness, free of the benefits of civilization that you so disdain.